Yo gamers, it's legendarma TV. Today we will break down Usurper Taros in the brand new type of a raid called Time-Space Distortion. Large portion of people dislike this raid because of the high requirements to even enter it. However, I believe this is by far the best Nexon's creation to date. This battle deemed to be much harder than Redeemers, mostly because even full best-in-slot geared players have no near enough critical resistance to negate Taros' crits, which take about 50% of your health. But this raid is still doable and clearable, so let's get to it. Before we even begin, it is an imperative to bring at least one staff EV or a Silas to have solid sustain in a fight against the Usurper. Also, having a Succubus Fang artifact for extra sustain is mandatory, unless you've mastered the battle and barely get hit during the raid. In this battle, you're limited to 25 exquisite HP potions, repair kits, and 3 Phoenix Feathers. Guild, Divine, Party Revival Feathers, Soaps, Scrolls, and so on are disabled. If you get incapacitated, your teammates can revive you with a Phoenix Feather, but should you die again, Taros will claim your soul, deeming you permanently dead until the raid is complete or failed. My best advice to you, don't be greedy. Taros punishes mistakes fatally, so try to survive as long as possible, dealing damage during his recovery frames. Let us begin. The battle against Spirit Usurper Taros consists of 3 major phases. In phase 1, the first mechanic happens at 95% of his health. The Usurper flashes red and sends out a massive purple shockwave. Shortly after that, he teleports to the middle of the arena, casting the Shadow Labyrinth. Hug the wall, keep sprinting, and watch out for the incoming unblockable shockwaves. There will be open gaps between the shockwaves, so navigate in between them to reach the boss and survive. Important note, Taros will perform wide AoE sword swings, so don't rush towards him right away. Once Taros' health drops down to 85%, you will switch the sword to a lightning one until you deplete his health further to 70%. Be extremely careful during that time, because the boss will now use instant yellow telegraphs underneath him during his combos. Lightning Charge. Taros charges his sword and instantly teleports to random targets 3 times with a yellow telegraph. Pre-block or pre-dodge before each teleport. Lightning Chaos. Enhances his sword to call down lightning strikes. Then teleports twice with telegraphs and appears in the middle of the arena. During this mechanic, Taros will unleash 6 red telegraphs, 3 inner, growing in width, 2 outer, and finally a small inner one. Simply hug the wall and dodge the small electric telegraphs until the 3rd red telegraph is finished. Then proceed to send back Taros for the duration of the outer ones. On the final red telegraph, fall back a bit and do not rush towards him. Red telegraphs in Taros vanish with a delay, so you might get hit even if they completely disappear. At 70% health, Taros will destroy the floor, which indicates the end of phase 1. With no other choice left, you are forced to jump into nothingness. Free fall. On your way down, 3 quick time events will occur. Watch the sign closely. Once the flashing orb reaches the empty hole, press E button. Repeat 3 times. Successful QTE will grant you perfect landing buff once phase 2 begins, increasing your attack speed and stamina regeneration for 30 seconds. In phase 2, Taros will switch to dual swords and attack more relentlessly. Also, you will notice that the arena does not have any walls, which means you can easily fall into the pit and die, so watch your step. Shortly after the phase begins, the Usurper will perform one of the scariest mechanics. Meteor Rain. Flies into the air, pulling players to the center. Then proceeds to push the players off the arena, summoning spirit shockwaves and bombarding them with unblockable meteors. There are 2 ways you can do this mechanic quite safe and consistent. Number 1 is start sprinting once the gust of wind will start pushing you away. Run clockwise, following the outer circle while moving your camera almost facing the center. If done correctly, you will outrun the meteors and miss the spirit shockwaves just as they pass before you without losing momentum. Number 2 is a more radical way. Simply dash either clockwise or counterclockwise and watch your stamina. It's very important to keep in mind that you can run into your teammates and get hit by their meteors and vice versa. So I advise to keep the distance from each other as much as possible and follow the same direction. When Taros' health depletes to 50%, he will transform into an avatar, growing in size. In this form, he's very slow but hits way harder and delays his attacks during the combos. Shortly after, he will perform the Stage Destruction. Stage Destruction. Taros teleports away and transforms into Super Avatar, then reappears and thrusts his sword into the arena, destroying 25% of it, further limiting the space to battle on for players. Once the boss gets immune, run towards the middle and stand inside the black triangle. This is a great opportunity to repair your armor as well. When Taros reappears, watch him destroy the part of the arena and move to any remaining one. If the raid damage is low, Taros will perform Stage Destruction one more time later, destroying another 25% of the arena and return back to his normal form. When Taros reaches 30% health, he will end Phase 2, casting a black hole that will suck the players inside. In Phase 3, you will battle the Usurper in the Molten Land. Molten Orb. Taros summons an orb that will follow a random target, shooting homing rocks that deal damage and sap stamina. If you are the target of the Molten Orb, kite it away from the raid as far as possible. The homing rocks don't have infinite reach, so the farther you are from your teammates, the better. Whirling Swords. Throws spinning swords around himself, damaging players. First summoning 2 outer red telegraphs, and shortly after mirroring it with an inner red telegraph. Start using iframes on the windup until the inner red telegraph appears, then fall back to avoid it. Mark of the Usurper. Performs a cone red attack, sending forth multiple sword tornadoes. Any player hit by the swords will receive a Mark of the Usurper. Next successful attack of Taros on a marked player will result in an instant kill move. This move works just like Romal's Warning of Death in Topaz Hall Raid. However, you can block or dodge all the tornadoes and not receive a mark. If you happen to get the mark, however, just run away from the boss for 30 seconds until it lifts. At 20% health, Taros will switch to a Molten Sword that will magnet molten rocks. This will serve him as a whip, giving him a much further reach on all of his attacks. In addition, the Usurper will frequently drop lava pools that will deal small amounts of damage and apply Taros Flames. This part of Phase 3 is all about patience. Taros will use cheap pokes chipping away your health, so play it safe and poke him back. Don't rush it here. This part is designed to annoy you into making mistake after mistake. Molten Vortex performs a stab towards a random target and summons a vortex for a few seconds that pulls players inside and damages anyone multiple times, applying Taros Flames. This attack is very easy to read, since there is only one pattern in which Taros will use his sword directly. Once Taros stabs the target, simply run away from him. Taros Flames. Being hit by Taros attacks and pulls will apply a stackable debuff on you, draining your SP rapidly and reducing healing by 50%. Dropping Taros to 10% of his health will result in the end of his Molten Sword part. At this point, the Usurper will return to his patterns that he used at the start of Phase 3 until he is defeated. Or is he? Inferno Waves. At 5% health, in a final attempt to best you, Taros will cast down multiple unblockable waves to disintegrate you, then finish it up with a massive meteor strike. This pattern is relatively simple. Once the cutscene begins, go to the south of the arena, opposite from where Taros is, and sprint into the wall, having camera face the boss. Wait for the first straight wave to almost reach you and move to the right to dodge it. Then proceed to return to the same spot and keep sprinting into the wall. Once the first side wave passes you, go around it and back to the wall. Rinse and repeat one more time. Make sure to keep sprinting throughout the whole sequence, because you will be constantly pulled towards Taros as well. After waves are over, Taros will throw a giant meteor into the middle. Just run around the large red telegraph towards the boss, or keep resisting the pull by continuously sprinting into the wall. When Taros' health is completely depleted, the raid will instantly end. Congratulations! You have defeated the Spirit Usurper. And that's it for today covering Taros. Should you have any questions regarding the space-time distortion raid, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below. Love you 3000, be safe, and I see you next time.